Welcome to high school. My name is Dr. Sabina Muchemi. Today I want to address you, that student who is a Form 1 today, the student who has just joined high school. Welcome. Now I want to talk about you as a student, and I will look at it in 3 ways. First, I want to talk about you or to look at you as an individual. Secondly, I want to look at you as a student in a high school. And finally, I will also address or give you some suggestions on how you can prevent or mitigate some of the challenges that you will come across in high school. Now, to start with, I need also to remind you that I am an author of a book. As an author, I have addressed issues dealing with adolescents' health, and this is my book. And this book talks about the challenges of adolescence, where you as a Form 1 student, you fall. Because the adolescents are people or young people between the ages of 10 and 24. That is the group that we call adolescents. And this group lies between childhood and adulthood. So, when we talk about you as a person, you can see you have already left childhood. Sometimes back, people referred to you as a child. Now we are no longer calling you a child, we are calling you an adolescent. And so you are in between childhood and adulthood. And that is why this book would be appropriate. But the business of today, we want to talk about you first as an individual. As an individual who is growing, you are at a stage where you are trying to tear away from the authority that you obeyed early on without question. So early on as a child, your parent or your guardian will give you orders and you knew they were just to be obeyed. But if you have noticed of late, with the time they are, okay, you still obey. I don't want to say you are disobedient, but it comes a time when you feel like, okay, when you're given orders, you question them. You can do it loudly or silently. But inside you feel, why was I? Why does she want it done this way and not the other way? It's not an issue. It's not because your parent has changed, by the way, or your guardian. The person who has changed is you, because you are growing up. And what is happening is you are moving towards becoming autonomous. You are moving towards being able to make your own decisions. And your parent does, or your guardian does not just realize that. You know, it's not like some of the initiation or some of the rite of passage that happen once, and you know this person has moved from this stage to the other. Growing up is a process. Both you and your guardian have not yet realized that you are changing and you are tending to become independent. They still see you like the young person, the young child they would deal with, they would give orders to, and this child would just take them without question. So what am I saying to you, young man there? What I'm saying is, there comes a time when you start conflicting more often with your guardian than you did back then. Don't worry. This is a natural happening. It is bound to happen because of the changes that are taking place. The authority is moving from the guardian to you. It is not a smooth passage because the guardian does not understand why you are now questioning, why you are wondering about the orders given and the like. And then also you start now noticing that there are things you are told and you don't like them. So it's part of growing up. What does that mean? That as an individual, you will not only have conflict at home, but when it comes to school, you will also have some conflict based on your stage of growth. There are teachers that will tell you something, you will obey, but inside you feel like, and you question all that. the other students will give you orders, maybe the prefects and the like, and you will wonder, you will question and the like. And when you are questioning, you feel like whoever is ordering you is not giving you the right orders. When you question, you feel like, no, it shouldn't have been like this. And that is how comes some students who are so obedient, they become disobedient. It is a natural process, and knowing that or understanding that will help you know how to learn and deal with your guardian back at home, even before we come to the aspect of the school. So by knowing that, you will be questioning, you will not be comfortable with all the authority or directives that are given by the elders or by whoever was giving you those orders. Then you will appreciate that it's natural and learn to deal with it. Okay, my mother has told me this. I feel like telling her off. But then you remember, no, it's not like she is wrong. It's only that I'm seeing it differently, so I can solve it in one way or the other. Do not allow what you are feeling to lead you to being disrespectful. You must retain your respect even when you differ in the way you are seeing things. And you must also know how to go around about it so that you get your way, but you have the guardian has his or her respect still intact and the like. Now, at that point when it's so confusing and the like, is at the same point when now you are transiting from your school where you are used to. Remember, you are the senior in that school. This was the class of standard 8. Everybody respected you. You were the candidate. But now, in Form 1, you are an underdog. You have just gone straight from top to the down, therefore. And now, whereas the other place you are the senior, now you are the junior most. That transition comes with some form of conflict, internal conflict. You know, it's not easy to just wake up and just start seeing things differently. Like, okay, I was giving orders. In fact, some of you are head boys, some of you are head girls, or whatever, you are the captain of the school. And the other day, or today now, you have to obey. There are people, they are senior students. And everybody keep reminding you. Some people will even tell you that you are mono, just to mean one, and the right. And you know, that will conflict you. It will make you feel a bit not so happy. It's not a positive thing to happen. And so it will be one of the sources of conflict as a Form 1 student. The other thing that you will come across that you are not used to in your school are the new faces. Okay, you had your classmates, but these are not all your classmates. You'll find new faces, new boys, new girls, new students, new teachers, new administration. So things will definitely change. The way your school used to organize things, in this new school, things will be organized differently. And you must purpose to adjust. You must remind yourself that you need to adjust and the like. In the midst of all this, you will also feel sometimes like people do not understand you. And it is true, you don't understand a person unless you have lived with them. These people have not lived with you. They don't know what you like and what you don't like. So you're likely sometimes to feel like what they have done is not fair, and it's because they do not understand me. So you need to realize they don't know you, and they can only know you if you make yourself known to them and the like. The other thing is that as a student, you come under new teachers, set of teachers. The way they speak, and the way they intonate, and the way they shrub, because we all have our mother tongue interference, will also have an effect on you. There are some things they will tell you, and sometimes you don't understand. Because you see, the way they speak is not what you're used to. So you need also to realize that you'll have that kind of problem, and you need to know how to solve it. How do you go about that, and the like, and all that. So now that we have, and don't forget before I leave that, as I need to feed you, the kind of transition you are going through will make you exaggerate things. So if something is done to you as a young person, an adolescent, you tend to magnify it. It's like a nomena or presented to you, and then you think it is a whale. You know, your mind magnifies it and you see a whale. Well, it was simply a nomena. So some of the things that hurt you so much are not really so big, but your mind tends to magnify it and make it look so big and a mountain. Your mind also lies to you, because anything done to you, you do not have other facts. So your mind is the one that is doing the mathematics. So did that to me because of ABCD. You really don't know why that person did that, but your mind will tell you, give you all the answers and the right, and most of them are not, they are wrong and the right. So having said that, how and what can you do so that you settle down in this high school with minimal problems as a student? The first thing I would advise you, young person, is to learn and understand yourself. You need to ask yourself, who am I? Who am I? You're all coming from different backgrounds. Some of you have come from a strict Christian background. Some of you have come from other backgrounds. So you need to understand, who are you? And in the answering of who you are, you will understand or outline your goals and objectives as an individual. That I am a Christian. Let me give you an example. I am a Christian. I've been brought up in church and have been taught to obey God and man and to fear sin, or not to be involved in sin. If you describe yourself like that, then it means now one of your objective will, I must maintain my faith as a student in this school. Another thing is, I must endeavor not to get into sin when I'm in this school. I must keep to what I have been taught. You know, that is because you have already been able to define yourself and known what you are, so that you can make a way or look forward or try to plan or purpose on how or what you should achieve in school. Number two, as you define yourself, you also remember you are a student. Another definition: in my studies, I'll do everything possible to pass my examination, and so that I can achieve my goals of going to the university and finally becoming a career person. That has come because you've been able to sit down and look at yourself and realize that you have not come for a holiday here. You have come into this school as a student. So that's another aspect you have come up with, or you have looked at. Another thing you need to define yourself, or to look at yourself, or to remember about yourself, is that I am still growing up. And that means I can learn good and bad from both my colleagues, that is my fellow students, and from my teachers, and from all the other people that I will interact with in this school. After you know that you will learn, that is the formal and informal. You learn from the teachers formally when they teach you in class. You will learn from them when they relate and interact with you as they advise you here and there. You will learn from the other members of the staff, both teaching and non-teaching. You will learn from your fellow students and the like, and the community at large. As you realize that you'll be learning, because you are not through with learning and you are still developing, and actually you are still forming. Even your behavior is still at the formative stage. You are not final where you are. When you know that, then you will be able now to look forward and say, oh, now that I'll be learning, there are some things that I must guard myself from. I must have boundaries, okay? Because it's not everything that is good. It doesn't matter from where. You must also learn to have your boundaries. That yes, I am going to learn. I'll be open to learning. But if anybody goes beyond here, I am going to shield myself. Let me explain to you. Suppose I'm using this example, you'll know about what you are. I'm using this example of a Christian, somebody who has already defined himself or herself as a Christian. That me, I know I'm a Christian. I've been brought up in a strict Christian family. I have been brought up in church. That's the example I'm using. So if you know that, and then you realize that you've got to learn, you'll be learning new things here and there, then you must also purpose. As I learn, I will not let the person teaching me to teach me something that goes beyond this boundary. In other words, I will not be open to anything that I consider unchristian. What do I mean? Some things you've already been taught that they are bad according to your faith. For example, stealing. You are taught maybe in your church that you should not steal. It's one of the commands of God or commandment of God. So you purpose that if I get a friend and they are trying to introduce me into stealing, how I can steal and not get caught, I am not going to get to that. I am not going to listen. I will not allow that person. So you set boundaries. If somebody is going to teach me perversion, I am not going to do that. The Bible tells me not to do that. It is against the will of God. So you should know your boundaries, so that now you will either welcome the teachings, whether formal or informal, or you will keep them away and the like. So you remember, you are able to define yourself. Then now, from your definition, you are able to set boundaries and the like. Number 3, remember, it's not your choice. You have to relate, you have to stay, and you have to work with your fellow students. In other words, they have to be your classmates. They have to be your dorm mates. If it's a boarding school, they are there and you can't do anything. You can't choose them. But as you realize that these students are not people that you know, then you make a decision and a purpose. I will try to learn my fellow students as much as possible and from a safe distance at the start. So what am I telling you, young person? Do not just get a person who comes and maybe if it's a high school, boarding school, and maybe they have sneaked in some food or some snacks and the like, and they are offering it to you and you think they are friends. I'm not saying you don't take it or not, but I'm saying even as somebody wants to make friends with you, try to, tiptoe into that. Don't just enter into friendship. Learn people before you bring them very close to you. Try to learn them from a distance. Try to learn as much and gather as much from what they say and how they act, so that now you take those that have similar beliefs, similar similar beliefs and purpose. You bring them close to you. For example, suppose at the point where you are looking at self, you reminded yourself you are a student, and you said you must make sure that you must perform well in your examination and your studies. Then it means that you have to get friends who feel the same. Imagine if you got a person, or not got a person, because at this point you have not even realized, really come up with which friends are yours. But yeah, this is your friend and tells you that, I'm not here to read. I have realized I can do business. As I'll be going home, if it's a day school, I'll be doing ABCD. I don't have to spend so much time on books and the like. So if somebody is already saying that, then you can already mark him in your mind that this is not a candidate for friendship and the like. So that kind of thing. So I'm telling you this, learn the people before, learn your fellow students before you become close to them and the like. Number 4, even as you learn them, there's this other thing that you have to really be careful with, as we have talked about it as you learn, but I want to look at it as a specific thing. What am I saying? Young person, suppose I told you, as we are talking here, that snails are delicacies. I'm sure you are feeling like it is eating you. You know those slimy snails? And somebody tells you that they can eat them. Aye, you hear that for the first time and you're feeling like madness. But I'm telling you, now you have heard it from me. I've said that. I'm not saying the people eat or not, but you have heard it for the first time. So if you hear me say it another time, it will not be as ugly as you heard it the first day. What am I saying? Some things are an abomination to your ears. You hate and loathe them. But if you allow them to be repeated over and over again, they lose their, what do you call it? They are no longer as ugly. They start becoming familiar. Not beautiful. They start becoming familiar. After familiarity, they start becoming beautiful. And what am I saying, young person? You have heard, I'm talking to you as a Kenyan student. You have heard that in our country, we do not advocate for gayism, lesbians, and also the other gays. So now, if you have come from a family where they have taken you to church, or they talk to you, your parents talk to you, they tell you, do not get involved in that kind of relationship. Do not, as a girl, don't have a girlfriend and be a lesbian. Don't be a lesbian and the like, okay? So you have been told it is wrong. Actually, the Bible says categorically that a man should not sleep with another man as he sleeps with a woman. So it's biblical, and you have been taught that in your church. And so you cannot imagine anybody approaching you for that kind of relationship. But this is how it starts, young man. They don't come, a student or a fellow person who is involved in what you don't like. They don't just come and tell you, now do this. Like in the case of snails, nobody will come and serve you and tell you, oh, these are snails, eat them. No. What they do is they first start making it familiar. And it just starts by telling stories. So in a group of boys, in a group of girls, or in a group of students, people start talking about perversion. And this is how they started. In my school, in my boarding school, by the way, girls used to sleep together. By the way, boys used to, you know, those kind of things that you don't want to hear. But because you are told in form of a story, now you listen. And now, and you know, and then you say, no, that one is wrong, and they're like, and the person says, yeah, that was wrong, even the administration and all that. Now you have heard it for the first time. It is ugly as it is. Next time, now the person takes it to higher state and the like. You know, those ones, they used to buy things for their friends and you know, so they are giving you stories about this topic over and over again. First of all, it was just mentioning as, you know, ni kama kupitia tu, alikuwa anapitia. Lakini sasa, with the time, they repeat the same story over, teaching you the fashion. The last time they told you about the administration, this time they tell you about the kind of things, and then that story with the time becomes familiar. It becomes familiar, and familiarity, I have told you, the moment something becomes familiar, now it can go on and move to the stage of being beautiful. What am I telling you, young person? If you stay with the students who are talking about how they were able to copy, to carve a Mwakenya in the exam and hawakupatikana, and then you allow them to tell the story of their success, hawajakwambia ufanye, that will become familiar. Kubeba Mwakenya, kuibia mtihani, itaanza kukua familiar. It will start becoming familiar. And as it gets familiar, with the time it will become beautiful and appealing to you. If you allow people to tell you about being gay, being homosexual and the like, and you are listening to the stories and you don't walk away from those stories, they will end up becoming familiar. And with that, after familiarity, they will be beautiful. It will no longer be something that you hear and you don't like. If somebody tells you of how they fought in their school and they beat this young man or young girl, alikuwa amejifanya nilimuonesha dust like that, is nobody will become familiar. So without knowing, the next time you get offended by a student, it will already have become beautiful to fight and win. So all what you'll be struggling with is strategies on how to win in the fight. You have already been won into fighting and the like. Some other people tell you about drugs. If my friend here, young man, my Form 1 student, if you are here and you have, as you defined yourself, you said that in your upbringing, you are taught that drugs are wrong. You're not supposed to take drugs. What business do you have in listening to stories involving that? And I told you they will not come and tell you, hey, by the way, see you try bag and they're like, no, they start by stories. Hey, in my village, I know some boys, hey, they can pass that thing. Me, I don't do. And they will remind you, I do not do it. But I see them do. And every time this boy or girl is just talking about these drugs, why do you want to listen to this? I repeat again, I don't know how many times I have told you, but as a Form 1, I repeat it again, that the more you hear these things, the more familiar they become, and familiarity leads to beauty. You think now it is beautiful, and you are likely to be won over. So there are so many forms of indiscipline, things that are not allowed in the school, including drugs and homosexuality, because even the school has shown you through the rules and all what they tell you that they are wrong, these are wrong. But on the other hand, you do not know that student whom has joined the school. You don't know their background, you don't know whom they relate with and the like. So avoid listening to their stories if they are talking about the things that you have been told that are wrong. Try to keep to what you believe. Have boundaries, young man, have boundaries. Let not somebody tell you of how they sneaked out of school and you are listening. After all, they are not telling me I should sneak. They're not, no. They will start by telling you how they were able to fool everybody. And they went to a pub, they did ABCD, they drank, they did this. The next, you listen to stories. Remember, this student is not telling you join, so you feel I'm safe. I'm safe, I'm not joining, I'm not going to do it. No, the moment you allow it, the first time you hear the student sneak, it's bad enough. But the second time you hear the same student telling you of what he did and the like, it's no longer now strange, it's no longer strange again, it's no longer strange. The third time they tell you, it's familiar. And before you know it, it's beautiful. And you have this urge of wanting to try these things out. So before you know, that's how people are introduced into bad things in high school and the like. Don't forget now, you are a Form 1. And people know that you are vulnerable. You are likely and susceptible. You are likely to consume anything that is packaged nicely, like a style, like a fashion. Because you see, you have never been in high school. This is your first high school. So you do not know how high school people behave. You have only been seeing them and the like, and they have been appealing, because of course out there they post like, okay, they know it. And you see this Form 4 boy, and you wonder, God, when shall I ever be in Form 4 waiting for my national examination to go to the university? And this boy or girl is behaving as if they are already in the university, especially to you Form 1. Do not be deceived by the looks. Do not be deceived by the actions of this person. Learn them. And please, do not, I insist, and my advice is strongly so, please do not befriend a Form 3 or 4, even a Form 2. I'm not saying you become enemies. Be friends to them, but at a distance. Don't just jump in. This girl, this boy in another and higher class is befriending you and coming rather too close. No, be wary. Be friends with all of them from 1 to Form 4, but not in that type of friendship that you are so tied together that now you can do everything for him and the like. These are the people who are likely to introduce you to those perversions before you know it, and they tell you, no, this is how we do it. Now, but another thing you need to remember, people will always label you. When we were in the university and we did a unit in psychology, or we did psychology rather, in psychology it taught us that labeling always takes place. You label teachers, they label their peers, you label your peers and the like. And as people label each other, they label each other depending on the first impression of the like. So this person who look at you, akuone uko mshaba tu. It's not because you are mshaba. So atakwambia wacha ushaba, and then you will feel like, okay, I have to do what they are saying so that nisionekane niko mshaba. No, let me tell you, even the president of Kenya, he has achieved so much. Imagine, he's leading our country, but do you know people still nickname him hunye and the like, they make fun. Ukienda kwa mtandao utakuta tumajina. Does that make him less of a president? No, it doesn't, because he has realized he is important and he doesn't deal with that. That does not, and by the way, he also reads. And when he does not read, his people read for him. He has people who work under him and inform him about everything. But have you ever heard him go to the street and say, oh, I saw somebody acting as me and the like? No, this is a president of the people. And he is likely just to address issues of significance, issues of importance. So what am I saying? Please do not worry and think much about the nicknames that you'll be given, because your class will also nickname the other students, and you'll also nickname the teachers, and you'll be nicknamed by everybody. So please just don't worry. Don't worry, and don't say the things in the name of conforming so that you don't get a nickname. There's nobody without a nickname, let me tell you. Let me give you a secret. There's nobody without a nickname. And even in the primary school, you remember the nickname of your last teacher in mathematics? You called him a name. Do you remember the nickname you gave to your English teacher? You have that nickname and the like. And did you know they also nicknamed you? And even in your village that you've been nicknamed and the like. So, people, students fear kuitwa mshaba. But please, don't worry, it doesn't make you that. What will make you mshaba na hiyo kitu ni ukikuja shule and you fail, and you came to study. If you fail to study, you came as a Christian, you backslide because of the things you are introduced. You came as an honest person, you become dishonest and you are a thief. You came as an obedient student, now you are ever sneaking out. Those are the things that will make you hiyo mshaba unaogopa. Lakini it's not the name and the definition, it's not them that should actually define you. Learn to define yourself as a student. Know inside, even if they are calling me that, oh, this is what I am. I know myself. I know myself. It's not a matter of how do I look to them and how do they judge me. Judge yourself first and the like, and that will help you as a student. So, as a student, remember your core business is studies. Even as you engage in other co-curricular activities, and please be involved in them, they can also lift you up. But number one major activity is books. Then the other ones follow. They are also important. So now let us look at your book work. Yes, Oh, you sat for your national examination. And by the way, you beat so many people. It does not matter what marks you have. Are you aware you beat so many people in the country? Aye, congratulations, young man. Congratulations, young lady there. Yes, but now you are in a new class. These are people who also excelled from where they came from. And this one that came with less marks than you, maybe he or she was sick on that day. So don't look at them and say, in the list, I am number 5 from our primary school marks. Oh, I am the leading one. No, at least I'm not the last. No, do not now look at those marks. Consider that is in the past. And now you will be judged from today, or from the day you set your foot into Form 1. You will not be judged on what you did in primary school, but what you will do in the 4 years that you'll be in high school. What am I saying? I am talking to these two people. The people who excelled so much, and they are feeling like, oh, I have made it. I am a man to really check on. The other one who really did not perform well for reasons, and they are feeling, oh God, I can never excel. So, I don't know whether you have had the ministers in the past and the CS, as they release the examination, they always mention, or quite often than not, they mention the student who had very low marks and has excelled. Last year, not last year, but the 2021 candidates who did this year, we had a case of 161 who excelled and got a B. You know, this is a person moving from 161 in primary school, 161 marks, and got a B. What they did not tell you, and you can check with your teachers, they will confirm, is that equally, we had a 400 ed above marks who did not make it to the university. Some have gone home with a mean grade of C minus. Do you see that? So, at the primary level, they were like this and seemed to have exchanged positions at Form 4. So you can see the highest, some of them go down, the lowest go up. So that inversion can happen. Now, so what am I saying? Whatever you have come with, whatever marks that you have, you must. Those who have joined high school with very good marks, you must work hard to maintain your position and move higher. Those that have come with or gone to high school with very low marks, you can still get better marks. You can redeem yourself. It was not final. The marks at the primary level was not a final thing. It was like to make you get to know where you are. I get to know that I seem to be weak a little bit. I need to work hard. So let us agree first, the Form 1s. Please, number 1, business ni vitabu. Number 2, business here vitabu. Do not peg it on your performance in primary school. Remember, you can do better, you can work hard and perform better than you did, regardless of the marks you got in primary school. And so for the weak students, do not let somebody, by the way, when Form 1s come to high school, they keep on asking each other, and by the way, what did you get? What were your marks? Oh, me, I got 350, and you're feeling great. Another one tells you, no, 350, okay. And then you want to ask him, so what did you get? And he says, no, me, I got 405. And you feel like, oh, this student is better than me. Another one tells you, no, me, I had 350. What did you get? No, I had 200 marks. You feel bad. No. The time to rejoice, celebrate, yes, it's good, we have celebrated you, but the time to feel bad and also to celebrate is now over. We are now in serious business, my friend. You are here for serious business, regardless of the marks that you got. In business, carry and it is carry for everybody, those who got high marks and those who got low marks. Don't forget that the day the teacher comes to introduce, I don't know whether you have already been introduced, but the day the teacher comes to introduce the subject, what is chemistry, they will be introducing all of you the same. So consider that you are at par. It doesn't matter what the other one did. Now you are starting all over again. It's like in the field, you have run a race, maybe it was 100 meters, and of course you are the last. But then you are told now that was 100. Now we are doing 200 meters. So you will not run slowly, because after all, you lost in the area race. You will now run even faster to try and redeem yourself and say, even if I failed in the first race, this one I'm going to perform better. And then the number one, who got number one in the area race, will run even faster, will put even more effort, so that he does not lose the second one. And people say, even if he did well in 100 meters, he is done very poorly in 200 meters. You know, that kind of thing. So what am I saying? You must all put a lot of energy into your books. Let's look at how you will put your energy. Number one, this teacher is new to you. And as she or he will be teaching, some students will catch up faster because they will be able to understand the language with all our mother tongue interferences. Others will find it difficult to catch up. So don't feel shy to ask. Maybe you are the teacher. Mwalimu, I didn't get that. Because you're not used to this teacher. If I was your teacher today, you can see that I have never taught you, you've never heard me speak, you don't know how I speak, but now I would have to teach you. So you are not used to me the way I speak with my mother tongue interference and the like, so it will give you trouble. So learn to go back to the teacher and to consult and get to know what you have missed. Sometimes the students might have to write. You might have to write as the teacher is teaching. Maybe the teacher tells you, write this, and some of you are very slow. Form ones are usually slow. Some are slower than others. And so you end up having gaps. So my advice to you, Form 1, is that at the end of the day, before you do anything else, go back to all your books for all the subjects you have learned on that day and fill up all the gaps. Do not allow the gaps to remain. It is not criminal to have gaps. It is not your fault. You are just slow, but you'll catch up with the time. But it is not right to have the gaps remain. So consult, get to know who writes good spelling, because again it will beat all the logic to copy from your classmates who have already wrong spelling. Make use of the dictionary after, not when the class teacher, or not when the teacher is teaching, but thereafter make use of the dictionary to check on the words, get to know who is able to spell better, check on your spelling and correct everything, so that at the end of every day, number one, your notes, all of them are up to date. All the notes that have been made, they are up to date. Number two, they have no gaps. So they are updated up to where the teacher reached or where the teacher requested you to get to. Do not allow work to become, what do you call it? Don't get a backlog of work. Don't be behind schedule. Always keep to it. Let the day end with everything added that was meant for that day. Kazi ya Monday unaiwekea Tuesday ya nini? Kazi ya Monday unataka ifike weekend ya nini? So finish the work, and that is one of the ways to make sure that you pass. Number two, always start reading early. You know, the Form 1 has this mentality, today we only defined what chemistry is. Today we only defined what biology is. We only did mathematics that are similar to standard 5 mathematics. By the way, Form 1 mathematics is close and related to standard 5 mathematics. So you tend to feel like, this work we were taught by Mr. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so, and you have mastered it. No. Always go back every day. If you do 8 or 9 subjects in this day or on this day, make sure that in the evening you go through it again. Not tomorrow, but in the evening, go through that. You did the definition, go through it again. Tomorrow, you have done definition and something new. Go through ya jana na ya leo. If you do like that, before you know it, wewe mwenye ulikuwa unapata 100 ama ulikuja na marks yenye haieleweki, you will not believe it. You'll be the, the person that is now sought for. You will be the expert in the subject, and people will be wondering, how comes you get that? You must work hard. Number 3, learn yourself. Learn yourself. I talked about learning yourself as an individual. Now I'm talking about learning yourself in the perspective of your school performance. What do I mean? We know we are different. Some are so slow in writing. Get to know yourself and don't get discouraged. That one gets everything when they write, I am slow. Just know yourself that, yes, I'm slow. This is me. I love myself. I am going to make sure that I fit with my speed. Of course, you will try to practice. We'll see how you can improve your speed of writing. But learn yourself and see, because I write slowly, I need longer time. So I'm not going to waste more time. What do I mean? So you wrote so slowly and had so many gaps. And you have to fill the gaps and get to where the others are. That means you have to put in some extra time. Maybe over lunch hour, is it possible to eat faster and get to go to class while the others are trying to make noise? I hope none of you who is listening to me will be making noise. But while the others are making noise, you take time to catch up. Remember, you are all together. This other student is not putting extra time because they may not need it, but just because they are not putting extra time, do not behave like them. Know yourself. I am slow. I need to put more time into my work than my colleague. The other one is, there will always be competition. Yes, welcome to the school. Schools are nothing but competition. I'm still on academic. The teachers will be ranking you. They will be saying so and so is number 1, so and so is number 2, and so is the last. Even if you are the first or the last, there is no permanent assigned position. What you do is what can make you remain there or make you move down. But I want to talk about to you, young man or young girl, who might find yourself at a position lower than which you want. And you get to a position of feeling, I've been trying to beat this John over and over. I have never beaten him. I think I can never beat him. No. In this competition, you must learn that you can always improve. Learn from the person who is doing better than you. What is that? Are they doing something better or something different? Yes and no. If they are doing something differently, try to borrow. Benchmark. Are they doing something differently? No. If you realize they are even spending less time than you and they are still beating you, then stop comparing yourself with them. Compare yourself with yourself. Compare you with yourself. What do I mean? Get to a point, ukiona utakuwa discouraged that me, I'm ever the last, and you are doing your best and you're not getting there. Start now. Start a new league of competition. Yourself. What do I mean? Make sure that you improve. Do everything possible and celebrate your small improvement. If you are number last time with 300 marks out of 1200, the next cut, try and strive to get 305. People will be saying of how they moved from 300 to 400 and the like, and they will want you to look like you have done nothing. No. Celebrate. Celebrate in your, not jumping up and down, but tell your heart to speak to yourself that at least I've added 5 marks. So what am I saying? Even if you are the last, don't give up. The competition can be shifted from the others to you and my tomorrow's marks. and the like. So you start now like that. Number 2, always consult your teachers. Make friends. Some don't look friendly. I'm sorry, that is how it will look. And you'll also be discouraged by the students that have been in that school, and you are told, Mr. So-and-so, usimkaribia, Madam so-and-so, anaweza kukutusi, and all that. They will tell you that, but do not believe. Disregard that and tell yourself, I came as a student, and I will not take any of this negative. So follow the teachers, follow your fellow students, try to seek help from all corners, and never give up. Do not at any time give up. Even if you become last 2 consecutive terms, do not give up. Try to improve on yourself. Not necessarily the position, of course aim at that, but do not be discouraged if the position remains the same and the like. So that is one thing you need to learn yourself, your speed. And before I leave that, suppose you find yourself that you write so slowly, then keep writing. Like, look for a rough book, and when you are revising, so today you learned what chemistry is, just don't read alone, read and write, rewrite it, okay? So you are reading and rewriting it. The more you write, the more your heart becomes light, and you end up improving on the speed of writing. So keep writing. If your spelling is poor, read a lot of novels, and not only novels, by the way. When you, I'm sure, when you get to Form 1, you are given textbooks, because the ministry is supplying textbooks. You'll be given textbooks for all the subjects. So also read those textbooks as a way of improving your language, your English language, if you are poor in it. If your spellings are poor, keep reading those textbooks, and they will help you, along with other novels if you have them, and all the textbooks. They help you improve in your spelling. If you are poor in your Kiswahili spelling, read the Kiswahili textbooks, whichever you have been supplied with, plus the textbooks, I mean the novels in Kiswahili and the like. That's a way of improving your language. So improving your speed of writing, keep writing when you are reading, and write a lot, keep writing every minute, you'll improve your speed. In terms of improving your spelling, read a lot of textbooks, including novels in both languages, so that you can improve your language, the spelling of the language and the like. Then another thing is, after you have, okay, we've looked at the core business of the classroom and what to do to make sure that you excel. Sometimes you still do not do so well for reasons here and there. Sometimes the friends don't look like they are good enough, and you feel down. I want to tell you, young man or young girl there, times will come when you get homesick, when you feel down and feel like, you know, like you are lonely, imagine, and you are among many. So you need to learn to listen to yourself and check what you are feeling. When you feel low, look for activities that can help raise your spirits. At high school, some of the activities include the co-curricular activities. Here you are not going to the field just to get into a team or the like, but you are going to play along with your friends. Exercises make your brain to release a feel-good hormone, and it improves your mood. So if your school has scheduled time for field, do not miss it out. Go and play actively. That can help boost your moods and the like. Number 2, when you feel down and you feel that has not helped, do not assume it. Every school has a guidance and counseling sector. There are some schools that have peer counselors who are just willing to listen to what you are going to do. Others have a teacher or teachers in charge of that. Try to learn to talk it out. Don't cock it up. Do not cock it up. If you're feeling bad, maybe you have been harassed here and there. Sometimes you are not harassed, but you feel like you have been harassed and you're feeling bad and the like. Do not cock it up. And on that note, for one, Many of the senior boys or girls will do things to you that you don't like, and they will always threaten you that usiseme. One, they threaten you like this. One, kusema ni kitoto, bado kinaenda kureport, and you don't want to feel kitoto. Number two, they threaten you, will do us if you report us, and they're like, these are threats. The school has, it has rules and regulations, and I'm sure some of the schools will give you school rules. And one of the things they talk about is that it doesn't allow harassment. So, but the senior know that you don't know more about them. So they will threaten you, will do things, you do all that. Do not buy that lie. Do not buy that lie. Anytime that something is done and you know it is wrong and you don't like it, do not consider it. Just go and report and see what happens next. Because one, and also report the threats that unaenda kwa whoever is in charge, the teacher. I was told this, or this was done to me. I was told not to report it because if I report it, this and that will be done. Now you have already let the administration get to know the threats and the like, and they will act. By the way, young man, the administration is for you. The administration is for you. They are there for you, and they consider you as their last born, as somebody very significant, because without you, the school cannot continue. If there is no Form 1 this year, then with the time this school will be no more, because all the others keep going. They get to Form 4 and move out, get to Form 4 and move out. So there has to be a Form 1 coming to keep the continuity of the school on. So you are important. The administration value you, and so do not devalue you. Usifikiria ati wewe ni kadogo sana, nobody considers you, nobody thinks about you. No, they think about you. The administration thinks about you. So report everything that is suspicious, report everything that you do not like, and it will be dealt with without much delay. And always have trust with the administration, even if the other students said you no or something negative to that. Administration is actually the major thing that is on your side. Usifikirie wakikwambia hapa huyu watu sikizi nini, administration, wherever they are. That is how comes they have been able to hold that school in charge. This is school you have found. It is still continuing. It means that the administration is up to it. If they are able, they have been able to do it. So what was could discourage about that administration and the like? These are teachers that have taught. So please try to solve your problems in the right way and the like. And don't forget to identify your talents. Okay? In the school you'll be given opportunities. In the clubs, look around and look for the club where you think you fit. Do you like mathematics? Maybe in that school there is a mathematics club. Do you like science? Maybe there's a science club. There's a debating club. There are clubs there. Get there and get actively involved. That is the only way you can enjoy being a member of a club and the like. And before I leave that, do not let people tell you how hard or easy a subject is. So you go to a school and they tell you, chemistry is one of the most difficult subjects. Mathematics is undoable and the like. Do not ever believe them. Go believing it is hard to them, but it is gonna be easy to me. When you have that kind of attitude, then that helps you to remain floating while the others are sinking. So don't be discouraged by those that tell you that ukiona marks ya form 3 ya chemistry on more concept, you are done and finished. That is them. Usiende na hiyo notion. The moment you get into a topic with a negative attitude, it will never be easy for you. But the moment you get positively, it will be easy for you and the like. Now, there are some societies in a school that are very helpful, and I would encourage you to join them. Apart from the clubs and the like, there are other societies, Christian or religious activities. If you are a Christian, please join the CU, and please police one another If somebody tells you they have this kind of faith, they are saved, they belong to this denomination, na unajua denomination yenu mfenye iko, police one another and tell them, no, what you're doing is not really fitting into what we believe. You know, by talking these things, you remind them and they get shaped up, and when your friends are in line, you also benefit because they will help you to keep together as a group. You keep together to that. So please do not forget what you have learned, and do not be curious. There's a saying that says curiosity kills the cat. You know, if you are over curious, some people start a story there. You know, in my village there is the worship, and you are so curious to know about it. Okay, they will lie to you. They may not even have a story about it. They may not know the facts. And like we said at the beginning, if you don't like the worship, don't listen to those stories. Do not listen to it. And we said, I remind you again, we said, by listening, it becomes familiar. Familiarity will lead to beauty. So anything, agree or not, if you allow it to be repeated to you over and over again, it will become familiar, and it will become beautiful at the end of the day. So that is what you need to know. So welcome to the high school life. It's not easy, people say, but you can make it as easy and enjoyable by simply adhering to the school rules. Don't forget the school rules, remembering that you came to work academically, getting also involved seriously in co-curricular activities like the field work, football, athletics, and any other. Don't forget to get involved in societies like the CU, YCS, and other Christian religious movements, plus other societies